Hi everybody. I'm Scott from justgetoutmore.com, and I wanted to take a few minutes tonight to do this screencast on adventure maps. Now, I've never done a screencast before, so please kind of bear with me as we do this. But I thought that adventure maps are something that I don't see talked about very often, but I find to be incredibly useful. So what is an adventure map? I guess that's a good place to start. Well, you know how you're browsing through Instagram or you're in a Twitter chat and somebody gives you some idea, suggestion for a place that you might want to go. You see a great photo on Instagram. You see somebody post on Facebook of a great hike they did. Well, you want to try to keep track of that information somehow and remember it so that you can go there at some point in the future. Well, that's where an adventure map comes in play. Now, I often mark those down in a little to-do list that I later transfer, if I'm not already in front of my computer, to a spreadsheet. I used to call this my master outings list. I kept it as a Google Sheet so that I could access it remotely. So here's a list of some of the places I've put down on my list in the last couple of years or so. And I have quite a few various tabs here for various quests or little travel goals I have. So the spreadsheet's really useful because, as you can see, you can have a lot of different information on here that you can't really put on a map very easily. And I have plenty of different tabs down here too of things to keep track of. I've recently been transferring that, however, to a custom Google map over at mymaps.google.com. If you have a Google account, you can create your own custom maps. Here's an example of mine. Now, this isn't populated with all of those places I just showed you. I started this kind of as a test maybe a year ago or so, and I've just been kind of adding to it occasionally, and I am now getting to the point where I really like this system, and I'm going to transfer all of those other spreadsheet items. But this is something that I find incredibly useful, and I hope you may use this in your own life and can help ensure that you don't forget about places that seem really, really cool that you want to get to. So I'll show you exactly how to do that in a minute here, but first I want to kind of just roll through real quick what mine looks like. And again, this is kind of a work in progress, and I'll be kind of really upgrading this here in the not too distant future. But I've broken mine down into several what they call layers here. So I have one for hikes. I have one for prehistoric ruins there. Oh, look, it highlights it for you. So those are all the ruins I've kind of logged that I want to go see. Other attractions, for me, that's kind of a broader generic term. Of course, living in the desert, you always want to know where all the good swimming holes or waterfalls are. I think I also have hot springs on this one. Scenic drives, definitely need to add to that. And this map is a little bit bigger than what you can see there on the screen. And then I have some other unusual geological features. I have some dispersed campsites. There we go. That I want to keep track of. I'll talk more about that in a minute too. Some historical sites, ghost towns, other things for quests that I need to finish up. And I have them all here on this map. And the benefit of this, there's quite a few benefits. One, it's a very spatial way of keeping track of this information. The spreadsheet's great. You can have a lot of detailed information there. You can transfer it between some other apps pretty easily. But the benefit of having it on a map itself is that when I'm headed in one direction to go do one thing, I can easily pull up this map and take a look at what might be nearby that I also want to hit. So if I want to come out here and do Camp Bouse, I think, oh, this is Swansea, which is a ghost town in western Arizona. Camp Bouse is close by. There we go. Then you can say, oh, hey, we're going to be close to Swansea. Let's go check it out. Or there's this hike that is apparently called Point 2, which is behind a dam near a lake that I really want to go check out. It looks pretty cool. So you can do that here by just taking a look. Oh, what's around? What's going to be on our drive there? Where's the place that we might be able to camp afterwards? I find this to be incredibly useful. So I've set up this. I've kind of put them in all these different layers. The benefit of doing this, besides just seeing them on the layers, is that you can actually add additional data to it. So you can, I'm not sure if I have it. Oh, here's a good example. The Sunflower Mine. Well, here's a link that I've added to be able to grab more information about that place. Well, that means that you're not just looking at where it is on the map, but you actually have some references to what you thought was interesting there, or directions. You can actually put in your own custom photo. Maybe I'll be able to show you that here in a minute. So anyway, I hope that this looks interesting enough to continue to watch this screencast. One other quick note before I move on to showing you how to do one on your own is that because this is a custom Google map and is connected to your Google account, you can actually embed this on a web page, which is really useful. You can share it with other people, which I'll talk about in a few minutes too. And you can also use it as the base map within Google Maps on your phone. So that is really useful for when you're out traveling on one of your trips and you want to just grab the next spot that you're headed towards, hit directions, and there you go. Now, if you have a lot of directions off road, or it's to kind of an item that's not in Google's direction mapping skills, you might run into some problems, but it's particularly handy to have that at your fingertips. Unfortunately, it does sometimes ping the server, so when you get out and you don't have cell coverage for quite a while, at least on my phone, it tends to have trouble loading the map. And so you definitely want to bring additional information with you. But either way, it's really handy to have. So that babbling aside, let's move on to exactly how to do it. So what you need to do is head over to mymaps.google.com. Here are a bunch of different maps. I use these custom maps for a lot of different things. Here, for instance, is the remaining national park units I have left to do. And I have them kind of spelled out of which year I'm going to get them done, which trips they fit together. When I do specific other trips, I often put together a custom map just for that trip, which makes it particularly easy to kind of visualize where we're going and have all those kind of data points right there. I also really love adding other stops that aren't really on the itinerary, but they might be close by. And therefore, if we end up with some extra time, we kind of move through a previous destination much quicker than we anticipated, or we couldn't get there because of road conditions or some other problem, then I can easily just take a look at what else is around that's already on my list. And that makes it incredibly easy to see as much as you can on a trip, which if you know anything about me, you know that's kind of my MO. So let's start making our own adventure map. So obviously you just click this button up here, create a new map. I have a slow connection right now, but it will eventually load. Here we go. Now let's title that. Let's do Jen's map, and a description if you want. Now here's the US. You can see that it is a different base map than the one that I use. You have a few different options here. You have kind of the standard Google Maps, which you're seeing now. You have the satellite view. You have a few other ones. This is kind of the train view. Some different political ones. I don't find these quite as useful, but you may. I tend to go with either the regular map, which is a little bit clearer in showing roads and highways and such, or I really like using the satellite view. And that's because a lot of the places that I find on here, I'm kind of picking it out through visual cues. So I may know that there's some rock formation here, or if I'm looking to find a certain dispersed campsite, it's a whole lot easier to find it when you are looking at the satellite view. So you have a few different tools here. Like I said, there's this map is set into different layers. I recommend creating a few different layers. You might do one for, well, let's rename this. Let's do hikes for one, and then if you want to add another one, you click there, and let's rename this one. Let's do campsites. Let's do yet another one. Let's see. We'll do archaeology. How about that? Well, maybe I'll rename that archaeology, so people don't think I'm going to a rock arch. All right, so there we go. Archaeology, hikes, campsites. You can put quite a few on there. I think there is a limit. It might be a dozen, might be 15, might be 10, something like that. But you can play around with it, figure out which categories work the best for you. Now, this is pretty simple how to do this. You literally you go up here and you type in what you want to add. So let's say you wanted to go to Weaver's Needle. Well, there it is. This is a pretty infamous rock formation in the Superstition Wilderness, Superstition Mountains Wilderness east of town. So once you get it there, here's Phoenix, by the way. That's Mesa. Here's Phoenix. Here are the Superstitions. Amazing area, by the way. If you ever get out here, you should definitely go there. If you want to add it to the map, you literally just click Add to Map. Now, before you do that, you want to make sure that you are on the layer that you want to use. So right now, you can see this really thin blue bar on the left of archaeology. If I click Add to Map right now, it's going to add it to the archaeology layer. So this is really kind of a hike. So I'll click that there. Now, you could easily then change a few details here. If you click the Edit button, you can type in a description. If you click that, you can add an image. You can add an image right from here. You can add directions to this spot, which is a little bit kind of tricky on here. It doesn't quite work the same way that you might intuitively think it does. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, you can delete it. You can see that it adds the GPS coordinates there. If it's already in Google Maps and has additional details, like if this was, say, a brewery, it would pop up with their normal Google entry, and have their website, their link to their hours, all that fun stuff. So that can get really useful, particularly for trips. Now, let's use another example, and I'll show you why I like using the satellite view. So the Superstition Mountains have a hike over here that I really like. It's called the Hackberry Spring, and you usually come out of this First Water Trailhead. Now I know it says Hackberry Spring Trailhead, but it's actually not true. Of course, it's Google Maps, so there's a lot of user added data, and it's not always entirely accurate. So when you are creating a trip around this stuff, you do want to kind of double check some of that, particularly if you are attempting to use this as your primary navigation device. So here we go, First Water Trailhead. I'm just going to add this right now. It's not really the destination I want to get to, but I want to show you a few things here in a minute. Now, this trail, let's see, I did pull it up here. It's called the Garden Valley Trail, Hackberry Spring Loop. There's kind of a few different names for it. It's a pretty low hike. I'm not sure if these photos actually do it justice, but if we want to, here's Hackberry Springs up here. Basically, this trail does this loop, heads up into here. This is a place called Garden Valley, and then it pops up through here, kind of comes down over here, and then makes its way all the way around. I'm sorry, comes down over here. There's also an additional trail that goes up that way, ends at the lake. Then it kind of makes its way through all these little things, and then back here, usually you take the road back, or you take this wash back that way. So that's the hike. I'm going to take this. I'm actually going to click on it, and I can actually move it to another spot. So let's say I actually wanted that to go there. I could change that. You could move it all the way around. Of course, you could change it. You could say, no, this is actually the Garden Valley Loop Hike. And you could snag the URL, and you could bust that in there. Of course, these driving directions are not useful anymore. Oh, deleted that. Well, let's snag that again. There we go, pop that in. And then if you wanted to add an image, which I think is particularly useful, then you can easily, you have all these different options of how to do that. Image URL is probably the easiest. I'm going to head back over here. Let's see, they don't have a good Canyon view in here, but we'll use this one. Just go copy link address, head back over here, paste it there. There it is, and bam, it should load here. There it is. All right, you gotta click save, I guess. Now, this makes it particularly easy. You can add additional photos too if you wanted, but now you can remember, oh, you know, what the hell was First Water Trailhead? Oh, yeah, it's this place. So that is particularly useful when you end up with a lot of different points on your map. And I definitely recommend adding a URL. You could even come up here and get some more, some description. Here's the entire hike description. We can just grab that, add it on here. I do this pretty often, particularly with rock art sites or places where I need detailed directions, and you can just toss it in there. Now again, you can pull this up on your phone, which is really, really easy when you're out, you know, headed next direction to the next destination. So there you go. Now, if you wanted to, let's get a couple other items in here. Let's do kind of my old haunt here. There's a trailhead here. There we go. I'm going to add that to the map. And let's say I wanted directions from Sky Harbor, the airport. And yeah, sure, we're going to pick up the rental car. Let's go there. And we wanted to do directions to that trailhead. Come back out here too. You can do the driving directions, get directions. Here we go. Now, you can add, there's two different ways to kind of do this. One is you put in your destination. Now you add as you can see, it started a new layer. I guess I should start with that. So you can put in your destination, hit that button, and now you can type in where you're starting from, and that will create driving directions. If you have a bunch of different points, which I tend to have when I'm you know, finding some remote public lands spot like an archaeology site or a remote trailhead, you might need to add several points on a map to kind of help you get there, because Google Maps isn't going to be able to route you know, on dirt roads appropriately. So you can add a bunch of those points, and then because they're added anywhere in this map, they'll automatically pop up here. So if I started to type Sky Harbor, car rental, visitor parking, you see how it pops up and there's that blue pin? That means it's already a point on the map. So I might be able to show you an example of this here in a few moments. But if we wanted to do that, you can see, well, they're the driving directions. Now, they're not as useful as you would think. You can't really like have the GPS talk to you and tell you where to turn and, you know, how far to drive before your next turn, any of that. You can get step-by-step directions, which is kind of the old MapQuest maybe way of doing this before smartphones. So this can be useful. I tend to copy and paste this into a Google Doc that I use as part of any trip planning. But it does have some basic useful information. I tend to find that it's actually easier when I'm just on the road to have this point, this trailhead already marked, and then to simply click on it in my app and click the little direction, give me directions button, and then it'll actually act like a normal GPS would. And that's, you know, that's obviously pretty handy, particularly if you're in a in a city or maybe a region that you're not used to. So that's kind of a really basic rundown here. Let me see if I can pull up. Let's see a couple other things. You can obviously, before I move on, you can share this. You can change it. You can make it public on the web. Anybody with a link. The only way to be able to embed it is to have it public on the web. So you can do that. You can also just share it the normal way you would with a with any other Google Drive document or spreadsheet or whatnot. You can also invite people to, and you can change their permissions so that they can edit it, not just view it. My girlfriend and I use this to add different potential destinations on a future trip to a map that we can then kind of go through and review together and see, kind of plot out the trip, decide what we actually want to do. You can also preview it in a way that would, in the way that the public would see it if you do have it marked public. And then if you come up here, you can use this as a template, so to speak. You can copy the map, make some other changes. You can set the default view, so if you wanted the map to start zoomed way out or way in or whatever kind of area you wanted it to start at, you could do that. You can export it if you want to use some GIS software or toss it into Google Earth, and then I suppose you can print it. Although I don't think I've ever used that before. So anyway, it's kind of a quick tutorial. Hopefully I wasn't too rambling. I think that this is a great way of keeping track of all your places. As you can see, it can get a little bit crowded. I don't actually know if there's a limit as to the number of points that you can, pins that you can have here, but what I've done is I primarily had one for Arizona. This one spills over into a few other places. And then I actually have other maps for other regions. So I have one that's kind of further over here. I got another kind of Utah one. I got a New Mexico, Colorado one. And then I have one for much further destinations. So places maybe up in the Pacific Northwest. I see a lot of great hikes up there that I want to keep track of. So I'll toss them on a map. And if not in front of the computer at the time, I just write them down. I actually have a little task manager, a little like to-do list specifically for places that I see, and I'll try to copy the URL or the tweet or whatever it is, or some bit of information so that I can remember how to do it. One other thing I guess I forgot to mention is you can see that there are different icons here, and of course. You can turn various layers off here so that you don't see them. So if you really do just want to focus on, well, I really just want to go to a waterfall. It's hot. Where's a swimming hole? Here are some swimming holes. You can easily do that. And you can see it's a little person swimming. Now, the way to change that, I'm going to head over to this other map, is using this style painter down here. Now, you can pick different colors. There's a bunch of different icons. You can click more icons. Here there's a bunch of different stuff. You can actually add your own custom icon. They did recently, probably in the last year or so, change these icons. So they have other icons that are much uglier. You could use those if you want. You can really kind of make this your own. So I have another map that I use for showing which breweries, Arizona craft breweries I've been to. I've been to them all many times, but they keep opening new ones, so I'm just going to go to that map real quick so you can see it. And I can show you how I also delineate. Let's see, where is it here? You can see I have quite a few maps, craft breweries of Arizona. Here we go. All right, so here are the breweries. You can see I have a few that are colored different. And these are breweries I have not been to. Actually, I have been to a few of these, but they didn't have their own beer on tap at the time, which is really disheartening. Trying to have trouble clicking that one. There you go. Coppermine. Have not made it there yet. And this actually is a good example of, the actual Google detail card that pops up when it's in their database, so to speak. So you can change these. You could use this in a variety of ways. You could, for instance, you could say have different colors for different lengths of hike. Well, red is this isn't a very difficult one. We'll say this is a blue hike, which is, well, no, we'll go with green because we already used blue everywhere else. We'll say green hike's a pretty easy hike, and there might be another hike that is red, which maybe is a harder hike, or you could do one that's an overnight, one that requires a shuttle. There are a lot of different ways that you could kind of skin this, use the color and the icons to delineate different aspects, which would make it easier for you to kind of visually see what options you have. So I think I will leave it there. I'll have a few more notes on this at the actual blog post where I'm going to post this, which you should be able to find at justgetoutmore.com/adventure map. And I'll try to post some screenshots of what it looks like on your phone when you load one of these at that blog post. Thanks for kind of sitting through this as I force my way through this first one. I hope to do a few more screencasts in the future, including how I choose campsites, how to reserve campsites online, and how to pick the campsite you want within the campground. I have a few tips and techniques I'd like to show you via screencast. And of course, all the other content I'm putting up at justgetoutmore.com, which is really intended to, you guessed it, help you just get out more. So thanks again. Again, head over to justgetoutmore.com/adventure map for a little bit more on this. And thanks again for watching.